Welcome to Friday. It is October 21st, 2022. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Check them out on their Facebook page or go to cowboystatedaily.com. Well, the weather changes we've been advertising and talking about are on schedule. We really are at the point where we can't turn things around or hope for things to change. That storm coming out of British Columbia and off the east areas of the Pacific is on track. Now, it's still going to be warm today and Saturday for most of you, but it's going to be windy. Winds, especially in Wyoming, the wind corridor areas are going to be hit with some pretty high winds today, tonight, and tomorrow. There are high wind warnings in effect. It also will get windy in parts of Colorado, western South Dakota, Nebraska, parts of Montana as the winds come on through. When you get a big change in the weather like this, it's going to get windy really over all of the Rockies, but especially those wind-prone areas. We're going to see the rain and snow move into the Pacific Northwest today. So Washington and Oregon, you're going to be getting wet, especially the areas along west of the Cascades. And then we're going to see areas of rain and snow come into Idaho tonight. Then western Wyoming by Saturday morning, Yellowstone Park, Jackson, Star Valley, down into Evanston and Kemmer, you're going to start to see showers developing as early as tomorrow. The storm is going to be kind of hung up along and west of the divide for most of the day Saturday. So west of the divide Saturday, you're going to start to see the weather really change. East of the divide, it'll still be mild and become windy. But then as we get into Saturday night late, especially after midnight Saturday night, for you folks east of the Continental Divide, that's when the weather changes to much colder conditions, and that's where areas of rain and snow will be developing. We'll show you where the highest impacts are going to be. Without a doubt, significant snow is going to fall in all of the mountains of the Intermountain West, all of the major mountain ranges of the Rockies, all the way down into the Four Corners area. We'll see significant snow. Hunters, hopefully you know what's going on. It's going to be significant snow and cold in the higher elevations. We're also going to have travel concerns, not only the mountain passes, but we've got concerns for travel because of the wind today. Then the rain and snow will cause some headaches for travelers as we get into Saturday night through Sunday night. Light to moderate snow will accumulate across the low elevations, and we'll show you where. We think it'll be Montana and Wyoming where the low elevation snows are going to be the most likely. And then as we go ahead and take a look at these great photos, we'll savor these images like this for here a little bit longer. Beautiful shot there of Chimney Rock in western Nebraska near Scotts Bluff. And then beautiful, just absolutely spectacular shots of those cottonwoods and other low elevation trees across southeastern Wyoming here over the past week. Satellite imagery today shows those strong jet stream winds, those high level clouds forming along that strong jet stream we talked about. You see this? It doesn't look like much. Do you see that? We see the black. There's not many clouds, but you see those little speckles? There's little speckles of clouds. That's very cold air over the water there. So those are basically cold air cumulus clouds. So the cold air combined with a strong jet stream helping to form the trough here off the west coast here over the next 24 hours. So you can see the strong jet stream winds here, but you notice there isn't much of a trough yet. It's because it hasn't formed. But those strong jet stream winds and the fact that we've got the very cold water and the very cold air temperatures over that water going to help form a lot of wind as we get that strong pressure gradient getting going today. So we've got strong winds. Anytime you see these lines lined up west to east, when you have strong winds aloft perpendicular to the Rockies, that's when you start to get some stronger winds, especially in the gap areas. But look at that change. This is where we are at noon today. This is by Sunday morning. See how the trough forms? It's not necessarily coming in so much as it's forming right on top of us. So you can see it getting pushed into the region strongly by Sunday. And ahead of it, boy, look at the wind. It's hard to escape the wind. You really can't go anywhere in the central and western United States without experiencing some strong winds over the next 72 hours. From California to the Dakotas, from the Texas Panhandle up into parts of Montana and the northwest United States, it's going to be very windy. And we're going to have a period of high winds today into early Saturday, especially in the wind-prone areas here. Then as the low moves out, strong winds will develop over southern Colorado along I-40 in New Mexico and along I-90 across Wyoming and the Dakotas, and strong winds along Interstate 80 as well. Precipitation is looking like this. This is through Monday evening. anywhere you see those blue areas and those yellow areas and those orange areas, that's where the accumulations of snow will be the most likely. It'll start as rain, but we're likely going to see a change over to snow in many areas. Notice the mountainous areas, the mountainous terrain has got that heavier precipitation. Notice this area here. This is an area I kind of want to highlight. Parts of west central and northwest Colorado, the Wasatch, the Uintas. This area right here, the type of storm this is, could really hit this area hard with heavy mountain snows. And I think we're going to have problems along Interstate 80, especially during the day Sunday because of snow and wind in those areas. Notice the basins are sheltered a little bit. The Bighorn Basin, the Upper Green River Basin here, sheltered a little bit because the wind direction isn't quite right for those areas. So there will be some holes that pop up. But you can also see we are going to see, not a lot, but some moisture get along and east of the Continental Divide. And there's your snowfall forecast through 6 p.m. on Monday. Notice Sweetwater County, Wyoming, into Carbon County, western parts of Albany County. This is going to be a travel problem. But also look at South Pass, the Beaver Rim area, the higher ground in southern Fremont County into southern Natrona County is an area that I think we'll get focused on. Casper area, you're probably looking about 3 to 6 inches of snow. The one thing to keep in mind is that this is the first real storm of the fall season. So the ground temperatures, the ground is still pretty warm since we really haven't had a cold fall at all. It's been a warm fall. So there's going to be melting of the snow down low at first. So these accumulations would be if you measured the snow as it fell, not necessarily accumulations that are going to end up what you see on your sidewalk or the driveway, as there will be some initial melting, but there really won't be much melting up in the high country. Then if we take a region-wide look at the snow, you can see how impressive it is, covering the higher ground very, very well. So good news if you're a skier, and good news to start to lay that snowpack down. Look at these temperatures by Monday evening. The entire central and western United States getting very cold. And you see this purple area? These are areas that could get quite cold, especially if we put snow on the ground. If that snow forecast ends up being right, those areas could get cold and could stay cold with these longer nights and these shorter days. And here comes another one. We're not done. While we don't expect this next system to come in to be as strong, there is another frontal system coming in late Wednesday into Thursday. That will overspread more snow into the mountains and bring rain and snow showers to plains and kind of reinforce this trend towards colder weather. And if you look at over the next 10 days, if you look at the snowfall forecast for the next 10 days, we've got snow falling all the way down into the southern mountains of New Mexico. So this is quite the departure. And with this snow, these snows you see up here that are falling are going to fall. They're going to stay. They're not going to melt. And we're starting that seasonal change now more in full force. Have yourself a good weekend despite the forecast that isn't quite nice. We'll see you on Monday.